3.
As your Renekton priority versus Someday specifically? Because I feel like Someday, not only is Renekton in a very good spot, but Someday is one of the best Renekton players.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our game, we did ban it against 100 Thieves 1-2-3 because I do think he's very, very good on the champion. He had a really standout performance against FlyQuest, I think in week 1. And just historically, it's been one of his best champions. And I would not be surprised to see him slam Renekton literally right here, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, they banned Cassante instead because they're worried about Cassante things, but ooh, closer on just a team fighting Maokai. I'd actually love this. He hasn't been playing to his peak recently, so if you can just get him on the Maokai, saplings always provide value. The Even Shroud Abyssal Sunfire build is so good for amping for your teammates too, and could be really good teammate.
Yeah, I mean, I really do expect to see Renekton here from 100 Thieves. Yeah, and I do feel like the counter from Golden Guardians is probably going to be Jax. This is like a common trade we're seeing a lot in LCK. And it is somewhat of a skill matchup, the Renekton Jax lane, where Jax does kind of outscale Renekton, but he pairs really well with Sejuani. Oh, wow, and they go Yone. Okay, that's...
Into the Azir. I love it. Because Palafox, I feel like, is the only other... I'm assuming this is mid lane. It technically could be flex, but Palafox is the other mid laner that will slam this. And then we've also had now other mid laners starting to whip it out and absolutely demolish with it.
Yeah.
I believe JoJo.
Yeah. We had a game of Yone the other day. It was pretty good.
It does feel like Golden Guardians are one of the harder teams to lock down in terms of draft, though, because of their use of flex picks. Do you feel that as a team when you're facing against them?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Golden Guardians have a bigger pool in their mid and tops than most of the other mid and tops in the league. I mean, this Yone should definitely go mid, though. I do not expect a Yone-Renekton matchup. I think that's going to be really hard. That would be really hard for Licorice. But yeah, Gori is, definitely has a deep pool.
Yeah. Plus, the Yone and Sejuani as a mid jungle is so high kill threat onto an Azir. I feel like you can just keep pressuring that Azir over and over and over. So definitely big insta-lock there from Gori. And now we get into the rest of the bans. You mentioned that Jax would have been kind of the default answer there into the Renekton, and so 100 Thieves take that one out at least, trying to give Someday not only his most iconic champion, but also some protection bans.
Yeah, I'm curious what Licorice will play here now, because I feel like they're going to pinch him into just playing something more weak, like a tank. Yeah, they banned the Jax and Kennen. These are two of the matchups a lot of people are playing into the Renekton, so if he does go a tank now, I think that's going to be very good for 100 Thieves, and I do expect Someday will have a really good Renekton game.
Yeah, he's been one of the best Renektons too at using that pushing advantage to invade in jungle, go either gank jungle or gank mid lane, get some deeper vision. So we've got the Aphelios lock in for Golden Guardians, and DoubleLift's time to answer. They definitely need him on one of those carry champions. Not like a Ashe or something for the extra utility. People did not like that.
Everyone has such a strong reaction to when he came on the Ashe and then saying, let's get DoubleLift back on the carries that we know him to find success with. But we'll await what he picks. It's the Xayah once again.
Okay.
They have really been loving the Xayah Rakan. This team has one of the highest priorities on it, but even without Rakan, they still have the high Xayah priority. Is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I do find that a bit interesting. I mean, I do think it's going to be nice to be playing the Xayah against the Yone and Sejuani combo, but yeah, I'm curious how the lane will go bot.
And sticking to that Xayah again, as you said, prioritizing Rakan in the past, but not the case now, and a different look from the top lane. We got Rumble coming through for Licorice.
Now, I remember asking Licorice all the way back in spring, and he was talking about his inspiration for Rumble was from Shanji. Do you have any top laners, LPO or LCK, that you look for inspiration like that from, or are you also a Shanji lover?
Honestly, I watch Bin and Keen and a lot, honestly.
Good choices, yeah. Good choices.
I try to see a lot how they play, and yeah, I do think those are the two best tops in the world right now, so... But Licorice playing Rumble, I mean, we actually versed him. I blinded Gragas and he played Rumble, and I thought that he played the lane pretty well as well. Not a lot of top laners are playing Rumble, I feel like, right now in this league, other than like him, I think. So I do feel like this is going to be a pretty interesting game now. I want to see how Someday plays the matchup.
With the drafts locked in, are you favoring one side or another? Have any of your predictions altered based on the compositions that have been brought through?
Honestly, I feel like 100 Thieves' draft is going to be a lot easier to play and probably will win, but I do think that Golden Guardians' draft is higher execution, and I mean, I'm curious because they do have a very good. I mean, Gori is a very good Yone, and I don't know. I do think it's going to be a really nice game to watch.
Yeah, the play I'm drawing up in my head already right now for Golden Guardians is to get Licorice to roam like halfway from River to get the ultimate plus Yone plus Sejuani and kill Azir. But that should be able to put out a lot of pressure on mid lane. But that does hinge on you got to deal with a Renekton in your lane, top lane first. I don't know how much roam time Licorice is gonna have. We'll see how they play the matchup and if any early jungle intervention.
Yeah, I mean, I do expect to see some 2v2s, like a 2v2 top jungle fight this game, because I do think that the Rumble Sejuani should have the advantage, especially because Rumble took Ignite. And there might be timers where Renekton uses his teleport back to lane, so and Rumble will need to find a base. So I do expect an explosive game in the top side of the map this game.
It's a kill lane setup right there for Licorice on the side of Golden Guardians. And as you were just discussing, Kobe, looking to see how Golden Guardians can pressure Quid potentially in that mid lane. I think there's pressure on mid, not just because of the picks, but because of the position Quid is in as a most recent addition to this roster, now entering his second week of play. You get a little bit of that grace period for the traditional welcome to NA, and now people are looking to see what you can do once the team has been formatted a little longer, and their coach just came back to the States as well after a long time of working remotely, which I'm sure will do some work on their synergy.
Yep, 100 Thieves have taken a little bit longer than a lot of the other teams to try and put their pieces together, with a lot of difficulties that they had actually getting people here. But now that they are here, the early, not as big as the chunk that you got on level 1, but Quid had to deal with 100 HP less going to lane already into the Yone matchup. And having River start from the bottom side of the map here for a blue quadrant clear up towards that Rumble Renekton lane is going to be actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious if Maokai will try to cheese gank Rumble here, like maybe flash over the Baron pit, because I do think that's a really common thing that a lot of these junglers that can go over wall, or I mean, I guess Maokai can't go over walls, but a lot of people are doing this with Maokai, so I'm really curious with him doing these two camps, being topside this early. He might also reverse clear to bot, so we'll see, honestly.
Leaving a little flexibility depending on what River and Golden Guardians want to do as well. I mean, how do you feel about the change-ups in the top lane? I believe you were speaking about this in an interview recently as well, how kind of the changes to enchanters means a bit more openings in what top lanes can play. How does it affect you as a player?
I mean, it makes me happy because I feel like I showed myself as a player that I can play I can play tanks, which is something a lot of people thought I can't do, and now it's gonna kind of shift back more into the carries. Oh, somebody getting a really nice trade, actually.
I like this too, though. We're seeing what we're looking for with River to move up to the top side, but because Maokai started blue quadrant clear, nothing here for River to find, and they aren't going to allow Golden Guardians to play too much off of the pushing Rumble at the moment, at least to harass that Maokai, and so Closer at the very least will get to complete his full clear towards bottom side, and it doesn't look too painful quite yet for their side.
Yeah, I mean, Rumble should accumulate a decent CS lead. I mean, it's actually looking pretty good so far for him. And I feel like, I mean, Someday should kind of have a bit of room to breathe once he uses his teleport, which is something that we have to keep in mind when we see this CS gap. So, yeah, I want to see if maybe Licorice and River can make something happen top here.
Yeah, I want to point out this ward here to look for the dive. A lot of attention to defending this. From 100 Thieves.
This could be pretty good for 100 Thieves.
Maokai's here. Can he flash in?
Prepared for the play. Someday gets knocked up, flashes to the opposite side, and first blood drawn by Licorice using the Ignite, but a good trade as the top laner falls for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I think Someday actually misplayed that quite hard. I don't think he would have died if he just focused on the Sejuani and got his Triumph, but I mean, it's not terrible because his wave's actually in a really good spot now, so he does get to catch up a bit, but that should have been much worse for Golden Guardians.
Yep, definitely going to leave a lasting mark on the CS. We'll see how much he does get to catch back up in the push back out. Licorice on his back gets the Blasting Wand plus the Ruby Crystal, so I think the pain actually might continue. Especially with the flash down for Someday now too. Definitely more vulnerable up here with only River blowing his on the side of Golden Guardians. Licorice having that advantage now.
As Licorice does have that Ignite, Revenge pointed it out as we were coming into this game. So the difference in coming back to lane compared to Someday, who teleports back, and the lack of utility for the coming moments.
And this could set up that play that I was hoping for Golden Guardians. If Licorice can control someday on top side, and you know, with flash advantage and with CS advantage, and be able to get his early level 6 to make a play mid and get this Yone also snowballing. Solo lanes, contrary to so much of the game being tied to bottom lane, solo lanes in the early stages can determine so much, especially those early dragon fights, those early Rift Herald fights if this lead gets too much.
Yeah, the CS lead is growing for Licorice quite a lot. I'm curious if they will be able to break someday out, maybe in a Rift fight somehow. I think that's going to be very important for Renekton in this game. If he keeps landing against Rumble like this in an isolated way, it's going to be pretty rough.
And those CS leads are across the table for Golden Guardians at that. A lot of the harass from Gori onto Quid across the mid lane means that he has built up that lead. And we'll see what they can make of it. 1.2k gold right now for Golden Guardians against 100 Thieves.
This is almost purely through laning too.
Yeah, it was just that scrap right there in the top lane where it was just a 1v1, so, or the 1-4-1 rather, but not much else going on elsewhere. And we're at 6 minutes. The dragon spawned over on that bot side. You can see the warding aggressive in favor of GG. Gori taking a bit of damage here in the trade, but still maintaining that CS lead.
That's a pretty big CS lead mid, actually. Gori's laning really well this game.
Yeah, we'll see if Quid can bounce back, because it gets even more scary when jungles hit level 6. When you have the threat of Sejuani coming to actually back up this Yone, that's where you're all in. Can actually find kills here on the Quid. He thankfully has not had his flash blown in the early game, so at least we'll have that to try and rely upon. Maybe flash the Sejuani ult to be able to live the first one. And Licorice does have his Rumble level 6. So definitely excited to see if he gets to roam to use it or just keeps using it for lane pressure, keeps trying to do something up here versus Renekton.
It looks like he has a freeze right now on Renekton, and Renekton's going to have to probably lose some HP to break this or call Maokai over. And the Rift is spawning soon, which is going to be what I wanted to see this game, how Golden Guardians will deal with it, whether they will contest with their 3v3 top side. I honestly don't know who would win the 3v3 right now, because both teams have very strong level 6 champions.
And 100 Thieves are the ones setting up right now. Closer spending time on that top side, getting the scuttle for that additional vision and control. But Golden Guardians, I'm sure, very aware of the coming objective.
All right, level 6 acquired off those Raptors. Sejuani ult is flashed.
Yep, flash away. Quid stays alive for another day. I feel that he's getting used to some of the focus here across the mid lane.
And yeah, it's a good flash, but that's still the play that you want for Golden Guardians, like we're talking about. Now, no flash on either solo laner. 400 Thieves for the time being, but Closer is first to top.
This could be something. Although I will say, this is good what 100 Thieves is doing. They want to push out someday, and then they want to just fight this Rift Herald. Sejuani has no ult, and they want to try to use some advantage here that they can use to get this Rift.
Still keeping the eyes on it. You notice Closer is hovering on by. Rivers started it up, but knows that 100 Thieves are very aware someday walking down from the top lane, and Licorice taking the pathing behind the pit, but there was that control ward from 100 Thieves, so they know his positioning.
Both supports moved up for this too. I do think that, Huhi's level 6 and Busio's level 5. That's also makes a big difference as well for this fight, if there were to be one.
Temporary 2v2 across mid. You can see how Huhi is hovering between Gori and the rest. Emperor's Divide used by Busio, but no grab from that, or from Quid rather.
That was a really good snapback timing by Gori to avoid getting chunked more and getting out the Azir ulti.
And that's a lot of what you want to see from this Yone play, right? Use of the Soul Unbound, as well as that ultimate, creating the distance, trying to slash and get out of there safely. And as a result, no action has been taken on the Rift Herald to completion by Golden Guardians, because 100 Thieves made their way into the fray. The Nature's Grasp gets the grab onto River. Equalizer thrown on down. Gori's trying to get the slices onto Someday. Pops the Dominus, but Closer has been pinned on out of it. Golden Guardians coming up in favor of the kills.
Roasted. That is the ideal scenario for Rumble. Group them up next to the wall. They lock them down. They kill them. No Sejuani ultimate necessary for Golden Guardians. They will collect the Rift Herald in the aftermath as well. Nice setup there. They slowly work out these cooldowns, Revenge. It was flash on top side first, then flash in mid lane, then Azir ultimate in mid lane. And they really set themselves up for success going into that fight.
Yeah, Golden Guardians played that sequence really well. It was almost scary. They almost just lost the Rift Herald without seeing anything, but watch this chain CC from Rakan and Yone. The big difference of support being closer with the Rakan team fighting also makes just, wow.
Just melted. That ultimate, they kept him locked on the Rumble ultimate against the wall the majority of the time. Thankfully for Someday, his flash did come up at the end, and so he's able to escape with his life, but now your flash is back on cooldown, and River is back in your lane.
This is so doomed.
Lane back on top of Someday. Doomed is the right word. Oh, but the slice and dice creates enough distance. Someday keeping his life over on the top side, hoping to draw some attention as the rest of 100 Thieves pressured down on bot. DoubleLift gets rooted, throws out the Feather Storm as a mode of safety, but everyone's still in it. Busio and Closer just going to blast cone out of there.
That was huge. Stixxay got the wave, so there was no counterplay for them to make bot to dive, which makes Renekton having to burn TP to top. Rumble's going to have a really free time here, and a really good time, actually. He's going to build a huge CS lead. But this Dragon, though.
Yeah, they're starting it up and burning that one down. That one's already gone by the time Sejuani even gets back to blue quadrant in the jungle. So while Golden Guardians avoid the dive, they can't do anything about the Dragon out in the river.
So over 3,000 gold lead for Golden Guardians, and pressure over on the top side taking that Rift Herald. 100 Thieves able to respond with this Dragon take. What do you make of where these two teams stand right now? Your expectations based on the draft coming across that 10-minute mark?
I think Golden Guardians is laning really well, both mid and top. I think that that's making a really, really big difference in this game. I mean, just look at the CS difference mid right now and top. Like, this is where that gold lead is really coming in, and I feel like it's going to get to the point where 100 Thieves can't make it to the team fighting stage of this game without the gold deficit that, you know, without a big enough gold deficit to actually contest Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, look at the items. 2 long swords to a fully completed demonic. Would you like some more burn on your burn? That is definitely a big power difference up on the top side there for Licorice. This Rumble pick, like you said, pretty much unique to him in LCS. Not a lot of other top laners putting time in on it, and Quid is under attack.
Under the tower, under attack. The play for Golden Guardians, trying to make it happen on the mid lane. Huhi popping gold for a moment's time.
Well played to Quid, but man, Gori missing that last Q's got a sting. That should have been a kill.
But no more flash for Quid. No ultimate either. Rift Herald now being dropped down by Golden Guardians because we're still in plated territory, and it gets the crash.
And at least for 100 Thieves, they do have DoubleLift pushing the wave on top side, but Someday under tower, he gets it!
Lord, Licorice wants to get hella aggro on Someday, and he says, not today.
Licorice definitely getting way too hyped there, going for that. I mean, that definitely will let Renekton breathe a bit. I don't know how much it'll change for the matchup, though. I think that Rumble will continue to keep pushing him in, but yeah, well played to Someday.
All right, 2 long swords and a tower. That's what you need to win that duel. Right under tower. Someday barely squeaks it out with the Ignite ticking on him, too. It was so close. Huhi's on the roam here through his support recall timer, though, and gets multiple deep wards, but Busio finds them immediately.
I just want to point out that they did change Rumble recently, so I wonder if Licorice is still really familiar with the damage that the new Rumble does, because that does also, I feel like, yeah, this is super close.
Yeah, and Someday immediately he dashes away from the wall, away from the Rumble ultimate, barely got ticked by it, and so every little bit matters there. Nice little movement from him, gets the lockdown, and that's something back into it. Get yourself an Iron Spike whip.
It was this patch in 13.12 that they did make those changes, trying to make adjustments for Rumble in both of the solo lanes in regular gameplay, but yeah, maybe feeling out those margins a little bit.
Still almost like a 1,400 gold lead in top for Rumble, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to get much easier for Renekton. I do think that he's going to have to kind of get, I guess, a bit of help from team fights this game. Just, you know, I think that that's going to be Renekton's best chance to kind of come back into this game.
See what 100 Thieves can do to try and break into some of this gold lead that Golden Guardians has built for themselves. It's the waiting game for when they can even out some of the itemization. Still a minute and a half until the next dragon spawns, but the team fight timers will be popping with neutral objectives soon enough.
And the mid lane is going to be a problem for 100 Thieves also, with Gori being level 11 and having almost 1,000 gold lead in mid lane for himself too, as Stixxay's been rotated with Huhi on over and a decent amount of chunk, but not going to be too much. I mean, since you move your Yone versus your Azir matchup down to a side lane and Azir does not have flash still, the lead that Gori has is slowly increasing.
It does get harder for Azir to side lane against Yone, especially when he picks up that, what's it called, Gale Force, because the kill angles for Yone just increases drastically, and Quid's going to have to respect that and kind of give the Yone push, and it just gets harder and harder throughout the game.
Yeah, you basically are forced to always give pressure, so the Yone gets to push the wave first, gets the first move to the rest of the team, and Azir has to like hug turret. When you have no flash, the all-ins from Gori there, too threatening, and it kind of pins 100 Thieves with very little options. I hate playing games like this because, you know, your solo laners are just pinned on their side lane turrets, and you're just kind of like, hopefully I can get my jungle camps, guys. Is it chill?
Yeah, this is looking pretty rough for 100 Thieves. It's going to come down to, you know, can they survive long enough for Xayah to get those items? The good thing going for 100 Thieves is that there isn't dragon stacking happening right now for Golden Guardians, so the way Golden Guardians are gonna have to win this game is by pulling Nash and kind of baiting them in and fighting them there, because it's not going to be a dragon stack, you know, soul game win condition for Golden Guardians, which does increase 100 Thieves' chances, I think, to win this game.
But you did also say, Revenge, that Quid will have to be worried when Gori hit that Gale Force, and guess who just did that on his recent back?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Gori try something in side lane, probably in like the next minute or two here, definitely.
But nonetheless, a win condition for 100 Thieves as they pick up their second dragon, using some of that pressure that they were asserting with the movement of their bot lane.
I like this call from Golden Guardians because you just said, yeah, they're not dragon stacking to win this game, right? So, and they fully sack that bottom side of the map and get 2 towers, the upper and the middle outer towers taken for...
Nature's Grasp collapse with the Emperor's Divide means that Closer reaps the reward with a kill on Gori.
I think Gori was being a bit impatient there. It would have been huge if he had waited a bit longer there, because this was a huge timing for 100 Thieves. They picked up that dragon now, they traded, which, you know, one being, I guess, in a losing position, and now they're getting bot turret and a kill. This is super good for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, that's a bunch of money back for some scaling here for 100 Thieves.
It's the angle that they needed when it looked like they were getting suffocated by Golden Guardians, but opening up one portion of the map. You can see the warding in their favor on that bot side as well.
The team fighting gets pretty straightforward for them later on. So if they are able to scale into some 5-on-5s, then we'll see the benefits of Maokai frontline, huge CC, setting up for Azir Xayah, 2 of the safest backline carries in the game, and having the safest support there, the Milio, with the extra cleanse for them. If they can get there, then that will be a pretty big win condition for them.
I will say it does get harder for Rumble to play the game in team fights compared to just laning. Laning as Rumble is definitely a lot easier to pull off, so I want to see how Licorice actually plays out of lane with this advantage, because it is very easy to die as Rumble in fights. You get CC'd one time, you know, you don't have Xayah, you don't have any tank stats, you kind of just get melted, and you're just kind of like an ult bot at some point in the game. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how he plays.
Yeah, Golden Guardians gonna have to be careful about giving over any extra money, because 100 Thieves are stacking up the dragons, and
oh, the stun, River gets it, DoubleLift, in a bit of trouble, pops the Feather Storm, uses it as the disengage.
So he doesn't Featherstorm the ultimate initially because he's just trying to wait it out and save everything, because he has Milio in his back pocket, you know? So you always have that extra blanket of safety there, and they're not too worried about it. Meanwhile, though, there goes Licorice, another outer tower. This one should be traded. See how much damage Quid has up on the top side one. But Rift Herald charges always must be answered. That Rift Herald getting secondary turret is going to be so much more gold for the side of Golden Guardians. They're going to power this one through.
Already knocking it down, and Someday knows that he's not enough to be able to stand against the onslaught of Golden Guardians, who are hoping that Gori can survive amongst Closer and Quid on the top side. This time Gori flashes away from the Emperor's Divide, but the damage coming on through. Quid responds with a flash of his own, and elimination of the Golden Guardians mid laner means 100 Thieves comes out on top,
Pretty well played to Gori at the start, but again, 2 crucial Qs missed there. If you look really closely, he could have had his knock-up charge sooner if he had landed one of the Qs, and then the final one as well. I mean, really close to being an outplay by Gori, but this is huge for 100 Thieves. Quid is definitely stepping up.
Yeah, close doesn't count. We just said you have to be worried about how much gold you're giving over to this 100 Thieves squad for their scaling. Quid getting some here.
River says, okay, I see the low health bar of Quid, but there is a very healthy closer nearby. Nonetheless, gonna step up. Busio nearby for 100 Thieves to continue contesting.
I do like how 100 Thieves has actually been playing this game out, though, in the mid game. They recognize that Yone is going to be a big threat in the side lane against the Azir, so they've been covering him. I would like to have seen Golden Guardians try to match the pressure on the Yone side more, just to try to get him, you know, let him bully the Azir like he should have, especially at that one-item spike. But this is definitely well played to 100 Thieves. I think they're recognizing how they should be playing the game in mid-game, and I think that they've kind of found a way to actually win this game from a position that should not have been easy to do.
Yeah, they've done a really good job minimizing their losses during the time where they are weaker and have a lot less options, denying Golden Guardians from really blowing open that lead. See about the next one, though, because Dragon number 3, 37 seconds away, and already 100 Thieves moving in with the control wards. Maokai saplings on each brush here.
We love a Maokai setup if you're a fan of 100 Thieves. Always something that you have to be wary around these neutral objectives because of the sapling placement. River making sure to clear out some wards.
Now, Gori won't have his flashback, of course, from that topside play, but neither will Quid. So I wonder if there's a flank angle where they can actually punish.
100 Thieves has the flexibility here, whether if they don't want to fight this Drake and give it, it isn't the end of the world. They can just scale longer. I'm curious if they will make the decision to fight, though. I think that they actually are in a good spot, too, with mid and AD carry, so I'm expecting them to try to contest this.
And Golden Guardians, they were willing to give up the early dragons to 100 Thieves, but not this one, as it would be soul point. Starting to burn it down. They do have the scuttle in their favor. And 100 hovering around Pixel. Closer throwing out the Nature's Grass. Ends up getting it for 100 Thieves. Huhi has fallen. The stacking is good on the dragon side.
Complete disaster for Golden Guardians. If they go and get Baron here, it's going to actually be the end of the game for Golden Guardians, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that flank ran into a brick wall. They get nothing out of it. Not only did 100 Thieves get the smite on the dragon, but Baron started up, and they still have Milio and Xayah ultimate. DoubleLift should be really safe in this one.
Gori teleporting to try to find the angle, and Busio getting burned fairly low by Licorice, but Licorice is in some trouble. That's 100 Thieves securing the Baron here, but River giving his life on the exit. DoubleLift Featherstorm already activated and throwing more autos into Gori. Look at that damage raining through, and Closer here for the lockdown. Unfortunately for 100, Gori throws back the aggro. But still a good look from the team that was down 3,000 gold not that long ago.
This is so well done by 100 Thieves. They recognize their win condition this game and how to prevent their losses, and now they should take away the rest of this game with their scaling. And they're on soul point now.
Yep, scaling nicely into those 5-on-5s. Able to attack it here, able to get the smites as well. All right, Baron and Dragon Soul point for them, cruising. Let's take another look at the flank, because Gori does teleport behind them with the Yone. And Busio's under attack first. Licorice chunks him down, then the blast cone over from Gori, forces the flash. But during that time, they burn down and finish the Baron, and then 100 Thieves turn. Stixxay immediately deleted. DoubleLift can finish him off. And Gori tries to make some magic happen. Does get out over the wall, and then he's got Huhi on his back. Nice knock up there. Rakan knock up into kill, and that means you have to back off. But you should be happy backing off with that. Still overall, very, very big wins here for the 100 Thieves.
I just want to point out why 100 Thieves was not scared to go Baron there, despite Golden Guardians having Sejuani up still. Xayah's very, very good at securing that Baron with her feathers, and it's really good that 100 Thieves recognized that, went for it. You know, a lot of people do get scared to go for Baron, especially when the enemy jungler is up, but yeah, it's very good that 100 Thieves went for this aggressive way, especially because people have been criticizing them for being more passive this split.
Yeah. It is also one thing to talk about timing your smite and someone else's abilities like Blade Caller, but then actually executing on it, you really get a sense of relief there. And now with that Baron, with those rewards, 4-1 split push pretty easy for them as you send Renekton down towards mid lane, and they take over this red quadrant of the jungle. Maokai saplings everywhere, it gets so annoying.
100 Thieves have really made magic happen here in the mid game. I mean, Revenge, you were commending their mid game. You feel like it's differed a lot from what we've seen earlier on in the split.
Yeah, I want to commend them for their mid game, and I also want to say that I do think Golden Guardians definitely lost sight of what their win condition was entering mid game and how they should have played around Gori. But you know, nonetheless, I do think 100 Thieves have been doing the right steps despite having a tragic early game, honestly.
Yeah, I think Quid deserves some respect here for not dying in the Azir versus Yone Sejuani pressure, especially with possible threats of Rumble roaming down and Rumble ultimates even to make it more difficult. And he has definitely played it well, especially towards that top side where they get the outplay. He lives with only a couple hundred HP. 100 Thieves, though, they're going to return to finish the job.
Baron's out, though.
Equalizer's thrown down just to create that line of separation between 100 Thieves and the GG turret here. But, I mean, having Quid on a comfortable pick like the Azir, following some victories for 100 Thieves when you're trying to build his confidence, is a great thing for the team. You've heard in multiple interviews his teammates talking about he's a great player, really strong in scrims, taking a little time to get adjusted to the stage after a late entry with the visa issues, and we want to give him that room to show out and prove why we all want to play with him. And Revenge, I feel like that makes a big difference, right? When your teammates clearly want to play with you and are encouraging you to be the best version of yourself in game.
Yeah, as a player, I'll say a team environment can kind of make or break a team, and a player as well. Some people do handle bad team environments differently, and you know, good team environments, especially in situations like 100 Thieves were in, where they were losing, they had to use subs, it's super important to be able to integrate them, you know, integrate a player back in your team.
Quid, who has a lot of mechanical prowess that earns the attention to get him here on 100 Thieves, but also a reserved introvert that's looking for that chance to show out here in the LCS, and maybe around this dragon will be the opportunity to do so. Falling into the sight of Huhi for now, goes golden after throwing the ulti, and boom, Licorice finishes him off, which means Golden Guardians push 100 Thieves away.
Nice curse.
We just cursed him so hard.
How does it feel, Revenge, to be on the other side of a caster curse?
God. That's really unfortunate. I feel like this fight should have been super 100 Thieves favored. They should have been able to contest that soul point and get it, but I do think that now this does prolong the game a lot longer, and it's going to come down to the next Baron to see, you know, who takes it away. Because I think that 100 Thieves should be able to start the Baron with the Xayah, you know, smite, I guess, guarantee in a way. So we'll see.
There's a couple chance to have that, you know, makes me feel like the Callista smite, for instance.
Yeah,
yeah. A couple with that additional layer to their kit. But 100 Thieves will have to find an opportunity to do that, considering the last fight didn't quite go their way.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to want that one back, right? You know, jumping over into Tri-Brush without the vision and then right into the hands of Huhi. But I still think it does seem difficult to keep people on Rumble's ultimate at this stage. Facing into Milio, I really like that late Milio pick for them. Having that ultimate to be able to get people mobility in these team fights, to get away from all this engage from Golden Guardians and have that counter. You know, you've got Maokai disengaged with Azir disengaged with Milio.
I did mention it earlier, but it does get progressively harder to execute Rumble outside of lane. I feel like especially in this meta with all the mobility in the game and just how much damage some of these champions have, like mid and AD out of lane, I feel like you can't really itemize resist well as Rumble, so you just get popped and you just become an ult bot in a way. So yeah, it does become harder and harder.
Yeah, and if you're an ult bot and your ult is harder to get value out of, then that is a tough spot to be on. So let's see what Golden Guardians can do here. Yone in the late game can also work some magic, though. See what Gori can do.
So I know, Revenge, you were saying that kind of in that mid-game part of it was Golden Guardians forgetting what their win conditions were. At this point in time, Gold somewhat evened out compared to before, and 100 Thieves a bit in the driver's seat. What angle do you think they should take?
Well, I mentioned it earlier a bit, but they're going to just
maybe
pull the Nash.
Maybe it's taking, yeah,
They're going to go for the 50-50 steal again with the Xayah secure.
Make it happen. Equalizer thrown across the pit. Closer securing another Baron. Quid comes out of stasis. Multiple knock-up onto members of 100 Thieves as they're on the retreat, and Golden Guardians cannot take any of the purple coats off of them.
Another successful Baron, another successful escape out afterwards, too. Golden Guardians can't even chase anyone down.
I do expect 100 Thieves to be able to at least break the base open with this Baron. It's going to be really important that they do that, because that will give them so much more map access to be able to get this soul in the next 2 minutes. So that should be their goal now. I expect them to play 2 lanes, mid-bot, like they're doing now, and just kind of push open that base, sink the waves, and yeah, take over the map.
Just play at your range. They definitely have a pretty safe route available to them with all the peel tools that we just mentioned. Play at range. Don't overextend unless you're getting some godlike combo here.
And Golden Guardians, well, the gold lead never got super crazy like it has in some of the games of this split. They did still maintain it all the way until this very moment on this Baron play. 100 Thieves officially ripping it towards that point of neutrality, and still over a minute and a half to go with this Red Bull Baron buff and moving through the jungle with these waves.
I don't think they're doing a great job so far of sinking the waves mid and bot, but yeah, I do think that it's still going to give them access to this dragon with good vision, and I think securing the soul will make the game a lot easier for them to win as well.
And that Baron buff is going to fall pretty much at the exact time that that dragon spawns way into the backline. Closer goes and gives his life in the process.
That is a big oopsie.
Yeah, you can say that again. Oh, that is definitely going to buy Golden Guardians some more time. And that is not the timing they're looking for. The Baron, like the Baron siege power now, they're not done.
Oh, still going for it. Quid pops the watch. Huhi has fallen. DoubleLift executing with the autos to the best he can. And multiple members down on both sides. Licorice picks up the double kill. 4 down for 100 Thieves. Someday is the only one standing.
And those follow-up kills means you don't get your soul. Guess what? Your death timers are a couple seconds after Dragon's going to arrive. Golden Guardians just chased themselves down. A soul denial here. They should be able to pick up the dragon, just get there on spawn, burst it down.
These Golden Guardian games have been wild this split, man. They're just going back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You got to be careful, all right? Yone, you can snap back at any time. So you hitched a little ride there. Closer W in on the Yone, and he's already going back to his body into the rest of the team under tower. That's one thing. But then up onto a ward. That ward, hero. The hero ward for Golden Guardians. Rumble ultimate in the brush into Rakan jumping over, knocking them up, and that wipe. They're trying to fight it. Smite fight.
Oh, Closer's attempting. Closer gets it. Oh, what a smite secure from Closer. Just reaping up these neutral objectives.
Just honestly bad fundamentals from Golden Guardians. They should have at least tried to zone the jungler. There's no reason they should have gone for a smite fight there.
Yeah, that's crazy. The rest of the 100 Thieves team was still trying to rotate over, was still coming from base. It's Closer and Someday staring them down, looking at this dragon and going, okay.
Kill them. Just kill them. Look at them.
Maokai's in. Look at that. Closer's like, all right, fine, I'll finish it myself. Maokai Q does so much now, by the way. Yeah, he's cracking up. Maokai Q, in their efforts to tune Maokai jungle, that thing is such a strong tool for securing those smites. Combos it well there. Hats off to Closer. The secures on the objectives all game long for 100 Thieves.
Closer said that twisted advance was a little sus. I'm gonna make up for it.
He did. He really did, honestly. I mean, it's pretty... I'm sure DoubleLift is laughing there because he's like, man, there's no way we should have gotten this, but hey, we take those.
The trouble's not over, though. 100 Thieves, Quid teleporting in, Busio marked below. A couple summoners taken off the table here, but with the passive of Azir, you can push GG back.
Now, it is a Cloud Soul, obviously not the strongest of the souls, so this game could go to an Elder situation. That's always going to be a banger, so I'm pretty curious if it'll go to that again, because yesterday was also a banger with Golden Guardians.
The games have been longer this week. Much more so. Mostly Golden Guardians games have been longer this week.
Yeah, not our game so far, but...
Not yours, but...
Yeah, what's going on there, huh?
I don't know. I really don't.
Finishing pretty quick earlier today. This one, though, 100 Thieves, honestly, man, okay. Yes, the secure probably shouldn't have happened, but the secure did put them in a pretty good spot to try and play back to that same strategy we were talking about with their team fight. Straightforward, pretty safe peeling for their backline, for Quid, for DoubleLift. And Golden Guardians trying to mix it up again. If they can get some more of those the straggling picks, force them out into a bad area. Right now they're down a person though, because Gori is bottom lane pushing out. Does have his teleport ready to look for a flank. And there's a decently deep ward behind the blue buff.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Guardians does not want to give 100 Thieves that easy mid-push access into Baron. I mean, they were trying, but I think it would have been pretty crucial if Yone had shifted up, but it looks like they're trying to do something about this Baron situation again, because they don't want to give 100 Thieves that free smite secure with Xayah.
Yeah, and Gori pushes the wave into bottom tower. Gonna stop off on red before he gets here, but those Barons have been dying so fast. That stop off on red, that means you probably don't get there in time. This thing is gonna melt.
Same attempted
Another
response
fight?
by Golden Guardians, throwing down multiple ultimates, and it's a reversal this time around. Revenge secures Baron number 3 of the game.
Oh, there's Gori, fresh red in tow, and he knew he could have faith in River. Blade Caller Smite's only going to work so many times. River gets this one, and now the Baron steal is on the other side.
What a banger. Not much else to say, just what a banger. Every Golden Guardians game is a banger this split.
Okay. 36 minutes into the game, we're back at a 3.4K gold lead for Golden Guardians. A lot has happened since the last time.
Yeah, I feel like we've been through a lot together up here, Revenge.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen next. I mean, Elder's going to come up. It's going to be the same thing happening probably. I mean, Golden Guardians did try to change things up for that Baron. They tried to contest mid more. I would have liked to see the Yone shift up because they were winning that mid push with Aphelios weapons, but they did give 100 Thieves that angle again to do this, and I feel like if they mess this up and give it to Elder, give this an Elder, it's going to be really bad. Oh, wow.
Yeah, just slips in and yoinks it.
River.
In and out so quick. River putting in the work to keep Golden Guardians with their heads above water here, but they have more ground to cover.
The reason this Baron is so crucial now is that they're going to be able to keep 100 Thieves pushed in really deep. They're going to be able to keep that bot vision or bot side vision for this Elder, and whoever gets this Elder wins the game. So it is going to come down to that.
Yeah, Baron duration here is going to last until the Elder spawns. Face check.
But just the big champs face checking in the brush as you expect them to do for the rest of the team to keep them protected. The Golden Guardians with over a minute left on this Baron buff, seeing what they can do with it, having Gori on that top side pushing the wave with the majority of the team around mid.
And Gori's got a Quicksilver now as well, so does have another out if they try and send too many resources there. Meanwhile, Stixxay here, full damage with the Baron buff, trying to siege River, watching his bottom side. And he's going to have to siege some extra pressure here as they rotate bottom. Licorice trying to do the same. Nobody gets caught.
Yeah, it's just really crucial what Golden Guardians are doing right now. To make it more simple, is anytime a team has Baron, it's really hard for the other team to push out and get their waves, deep onto the other side. And you always want to use these Barons before big objectives like Elder spawning to kind of get that vision, be in a good spot to fight, because that's, this will decide the game.
Yep, and that big objective, Revenge, only 15 seconds until it comes up. Golden Guardians spending ample time ushering these waves down mid, down bot side to create that space between 100 Thieves and the Elder at hand. Gori does have teleport too to be able to join the rest of the team. Same can be said for Someday.
Okay, Gori's got a pretty far TP flank here.
Elder already down to half.
Somebody's going to be late. Somebody's going to be late.
Oh, Equalizer already used. Gori's soul unbound to slink back. The teleports directly into the pit on the 100 Thieves side. Huhi goes golden. A big blast of damage onto multiple members of 100 Thieves. GA has been popped in the pit by one. Make that two. Make that multiple. Busio on the opposite side of the pit already fallen. 100 Thieves, where'd you go? Golden Guardians eradicating the squad. Taking the ace. Taking the Elder. Taking everything.
What a banger. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, Stixxay was popping off there in that fight. That was really nice to see.
He ran down the back line, 2v1'd him in the end, while the rest of the team secures the dragon, secures the kills in the pit, and secures the game.
It didn't even look bad at the start for 100 Thieves. I mean, I feel like Gori messed up using his ultimate the way he did, and I feel like 100 Thieves were in that good position to fight, but man, Golden Guardians positioning and I guess just team synergy just let them take away that fight.
Too much time till those timers get popped. You cannot dull the shine of Golden Guardians.
GG.
Wow, what a back and forth game with so many of these objectives contested by junglers.
Yeah, I mean, that really came down to, I mean, that Baron steal from River was pretty MVP, honestly. I feel like that really put